Hey guys, and welcome to I guess I'm going to call it a vlog, but I just wanted to have my chance to throw my 2 cents in on something that I'm sure a lot of other people have done here lately. So, just going to jump on that bandwagon, and I want to talk about some movie trailers that have debuted recently. Some of them are teasers, some of them are full first official trailers, I guess. There's four that I want to talk about. And I got to start with the big one because this is the one that most people have been excited for, or not confused, but maybe wanting more. For some people, it's been controversial, and people have even disliked what they've seen. If you haven't figured it out by now, I'm talking about Star Wars: The Force Awakens. It's the new Star Wars movie that's going to be out in roughly 1 year from right now, December of next year. And personally, I'm excited for it. Have been since the moment I heard they were going to do it, despite the fact that Disney now owns Star Wars. For me, it doesn't make any difference that J.J. Abrams directed it. I mean, it doesn't make a negative impact because I love him. I loved Lost and Cloverfield and other things that he's been involved in. So I don't have a problem at all with J.J. Abrams taking the helm of this and doing with it what I hope is going to be faithful to the series and to George Lucas's vision. I've already talked about George Lucas, and maybe that's part of the reason why I'm not bothered by it being Abrams, because it's not George. I love George Lucas. Hopefully I've made that point well enough before. Hopefully I make it well enough in this video. I love George Lucas. We wouldn't have Star Wars if it wasn't for him. But we also wouldn't have a few of the issues like the prequels experienced due to some of the things that he did with it. So I'm glad somebody else is going to have a fresh take on it and hopefully keep the spirit of the original trilogy alive. Okay, that being said, the trailer itself, I enjoyed the trailer. It was disappointing not to see Luke or Leia or Han or Chewie or just somebody from the original trilogies, because a lot of the characters are back. This movie takes place 30 years after Return of the Jedi, so it's not like they're dead and buried. We already know that they're cast in the movie. We already know that the movie's been filmed, so seeing some of them would have been nice, but I'm sure part of the point of this teaser is just to say, here's new Star Wars, here's a little look-see at things. And then next, full trailer or whatever, I'm sure we're going to start seeing some of the original cast. And anyway, I'm not going to try to break the trailer down moment by moment. I just want to say that it looked awesome. It looked amazing. The cinematography looked great. Some of the shots, like the X-Wings flying across the surface of a lake, were awesome. Stormtroopers and the slight redesigns, but still looking faithful to the original trilogy, was nice to see. Nothing really, really crazy. 30 years, there's going to be changes, sure. You can see cars from 30 years ago as they compare to today, but you don't expect things to be, just completely and totally crazy. So I like the looks of the speeder thing, the little droid that looks sort of like a volleyball rolling around with a head on it is whatever. A lot of people are knocking that already. They're like, okay, there's your toy. There's your appeal to the kids. They'll make a toy for that and sell millions. It didn't bother me at all. One of the stupidest things that I've heard, well, there's two of them in particular with this trailer. One, I believe his name is John Boyega. He's the stormtrooper who shows up at the beginning of the trailer. There was all this flack over, it's a black stormtrooper. You can't have that. Says who? Why can't you? Why does it have to be a race thing? A lot of people are like, well, it's not a race thing. It's because they were clones or this or that. Well, we don't know for sure that he's a stormtrooper. We don't know for sure that 30 years later they would still be clones. Some people don't even want to acknowledge that they were clones. I always wondered with the original trilogy if they were robots or if they were people. But if they come out to be actual humanoid beings inside of there for the original trilogies, I don't care if they're clones from the Clone Wars or who they are. And then 30 years later, who cares what they are and what they look like and all that. Once again, we just have to wait to see what's going to happen when the movie itself comes along. So I like that. The other thing that people were quibbling about is you see a character that you have to presume is like a Sith, a Sith Lord or someone who's seeking the path of the Sith and the dark side, and he whips out a lightsaber, and out goes the blade, and then out comes these two things on the side. Now, first of all, and I wouldn't have picked this up really. I mean, I would have been like, oh, his blade looks a little weird, but other people were quick to jump on explanations like, well, maybe he has an unstable crystal in his lightsaber. There's another thing I don't really know much about. I was aware of the fact that there was crystals in there, but being refined, being unstable, whatever, I didn't know anything about that. I didn't either pick it up or I'd forgotten. But somebody said, well, it's all these years later, most of the Jedi and Siths are wiped out. The few who may be coming, well, as far as Sith, I guess, I should say. Well, even the Jedis themselves, it was, the Jedis had been kind of wiped out in Revenge of the Sith and all that. Anyway, if you know Star Wars, you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm getting at. But they may have created a lightsaber with an unstable crystal, and that's why the actual blade of the saber itself looks strange. But the extra pieces, the hilt, if it's supposed to be like a long sword or a broadsword or something like that, or maybe they're exhaust ports, whatever the case may be, why are people worrying about that kind of stuff? I mean, it's just so ridiculous. Somebody else, this is paraphrasing a quote from someone else, but they were like, everybody lost their minds when Darth Maul had a lightsaber with the two blades on each side. And then when we saw it in the movie, it was freaking awesome. A lot of people agree that Darth Maul was probably the best part of the first movie. I mean, for me, he was up there. Just the fact that it was a new Star Wars movie was pretty awesome to me. I take the good with the bad. But we lived through that. We'll live through whatever this is. If they're exhaust ports, if they're extra blades, if it's supposed to be like I said, like a hilt or whatever, some sort of a hand guard, they'll figure it all out. And there's always going to be some stuff that just doesn't make any sense in sci-fi movies, in fantasy movies, in fiction in general. So anyway, that's just kind of my thought on that. People just need to chill and let's just enjoy this for what it is. And if in the end the movie sucks, then whatever. Pick it apart at that point. I was excited. I loved the trailer. I'm ready for something new. They're talking about maybe a first full trailer, or at least the next teaser or whatever we're going to see will come before. Is it another Avengers movie? See, I haven't seen much or heard anything about that. There'll be Avengers or Marvel-related movies this coming year, so I think it was the new Avengers movie that they were talking about. We might see another teaser, so we'll see. But that's that. Positives for me, thumbs up for me on the Force Awakens teaser trailer. Now, the next trailer that I watched was for... All of a sudden, I'm kind of blanking, which is not good because I had 4 of them I wanted to talk about. Oh, Jurassic World, that's the next one. Okay, Jurassic Park trilogy, for me, is right up there with a Star Wars. I loved those movies, all 3 of them. Yes, the first was awesome. Probably the best of the 3, but they were all 3 really, they came out when the first movie came out when I was like 19 or 20, so it just led right into, I'm an adult, I go spend my money on what I want to. If I want to go see a movie, I just go see it. I went to see Jurassic Park, and my mind was just blown. So I've been very, very eager to hear something, about this new movie, and finally we got to see a trailer for it. Now, just as a whole, I enjoyed the trailer. It does retain some of the feel and the atmosphere of the Jurassic Park trilogy. What I didn't like about it was kind of the same thing I had against the Force Awakens trailer. No glimpse of anybody. No glimpse of anybody major from the first movies. No Dr. Grant. No Ellie. No the kids. Ian Malcolm, Jeff Goldblum's character. We know we're not going to get Hammond's back because is it Richard Attenborough who played him? He passed away. But I was just hoping. I hadn't heard anything about it. Not like with Star Wars, where it was pretty big news that those guys were coming back. I hadn't heard anything about it with Jurassic Park, so it's not like I was expecting it. I was just hoping for it. I was like, that'd be really cool if somebody from the original movies pops up in this one. But instead, this is basically led by Chris Pratt, who was in Guardians of the Galaxy, did a really good job in that. I'm glad to see him in this. I just wanted to see something from, something that would directly tie. I know that B.D. Wong reprises his role. He's in it from the first movie, which is really cool. But it's not what I would consider to be enough to really make me feel the nostalgia waving back over me. CG-wise, it looked great. Special effects were top-notch. So I was left with a smile on my face, although I question their decision to create a new dinosaur, what they called the D-Rex, some sort of new concoction of DNA and a hybrid dinosaur or something like that. That I could take or to leave it, but once again, I will actually judge my full opinion, of course, on the final product itself, the movie when it's out. So, good. I liked it. I'm excited for that movie. I'd like to see a little bit more, but it's still a movie I will watch. Now, the third thing I saw was a trailer for Terminator Genisys. And I can come right out here in the first place and say, I've seen Terminator, and I've seen T2. I have not seen any of the other movies. I own them all. I have Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, I think it was. I have Terminator Salvation. I have not watched the third and fourth one. I don't know just how strictly to the lore that they all fall. I know that Arnold was in the third movie. I know that the fourth movie had like Christian Bale and Sam Huntington. Sorry, I forget his name at the moment. He was in like the Clash of the Titans and Wrath of the Titans. Huntington, Worthington, something like that. And I know that it still involves like Connors, and I know that it still involves the Terminators, but I don't, like I said, I haven't watched them. It's a big error on my part that I haven't kept up on these series. I never expected another movie, though, I'll be honest with you. But I saw the trailer for this Genisys, and I was intrigued. That one, like I said, it came out of left field. I wasn't anticipating this. All of a sudden, I heard some stuff about a movie, and within a few days, here was a trailer. I liked the trailer, but it was also kind of weird. Like, for one thing, Arnold's back. And it looks like Arnold is going to somewhat kind of sort of face off against his old self from the original movie. And because of their reliance on time travel stuff, I guess they feel like that's why they can do what they do with them. But it's like, how many times are they going to go back into the past to get involved with John Connor? And how many times are they going to go into this time frame or that time frame? How many times are there going to be a new Terminator, a new enemy, a new bad guy? And then in this one, they even, there's somebody new taking on Linda Hamilton's role. God, I can't remember her character's first name, but they have someone new doing her. She even gets to say the whole, I think it was, get to the chopper, or follow me, or come with me if you want to live, something like that. In jokes, I love those in jokes for stuff that's 20 or 30 years old. It was intriguing. It's another movie I will want to watch. I would say right now, Star Wars is an in-theater one. Jurassic World and Terminator Genisys could be waits until they come out on Blu-ray. But I liked it. It was intriguing. And if nothing else, I just want to watch all the movies up to this one and this new one just to understand what's going on in the story for Terminator. And the last trailer that I actually saw this morning. And I actually saw it as an advertisement before a YouTube video that I was going to watch, which they sometimes sneak trailers and teasers and stuff before videos, which is fine. I don't have a problem with it. If it's something I want to watch, I'll put in a couple of minutes on what is essentially a commercial. But that was Mad Max Fury Road. Now, I'm a Mad Max fan. I actually own the trilogy on Blu-ray. I bought that last year, whenever it was, that that they put that out, and then I had a chance, I think earlier this year, to sit down and watch each of the movies. Now, the first movie, Mad Max, has always been something that I found to be quizzical. I tried to watch it once years ago and just really couldn't get into it. The Road Warrior is one of these handful of movies that I can actually say is a real big part of my childhood with my dad. It was something that he watched and liked. I watched it and I liked it, and it just kind of became a part, like I said, of my childhood in that way. And then Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome was kind of like, hey, these movies are kind of cult classics and they have a following, and Mel Gibson was starting to get on the map, and so I feel like they got a Hollywood budget for Beyond Thunderdome and used it and made a cool movie. It was a nice wrap up to the trilogy, so to speak, but never would have expected another movie all these years later. But it looks interesting. It's got Tom Hardy in it. I knew that. Charlize Theron, I knew that. Fine, casting choices aside, whatever. I mean, I don't know if Mel Gibson has any kind of a part in it. I don't know if this is a reimagining with Tom Hardy taking over his role, or if it's supposed to be his son, which would be weird because it didn't really ever look like he had relationships of any kind in those other movies. I don't know. I guess there was something in Beyond Thunderdome, but now that I think about it, maybe that was related to him, or maybe that was related to someone else. Seemed like there was a girl who was pregnant, but I might have to refresh my memory on that. Anyway, if it ends up being Mel Gibson's kid in it, fine. If they're re-envisioning it with Tom Hardy in Mel Gibson's role, then I'll take that too. But it looked like just like a complete injection of all the crazy CG, special effects, explosions, and all that are prominent in today's movies, with a great dosage of all the car action, car racing, and battling and combat that the original movies had. So maybe it'll be a good balance of the two. I don't know that you have to do too much with a Mad Max movie. You don't have to go overboard with CG and special effects. Excuse me, which I'm afraid is maybe what they're going to do, but we'll see, I guess, right? It also looks like a movie that I could wait for to watch it at home, but it would probably end up being a purchase just because I'd love to put it on the shelf next to the original trilogy. I think all four of these movies are movies that I would want to buy just from seeing these little bit of trailers. But that's me. I'm not a super critical eye when it comes to movies. I mean, I can look at something and just be like, it's going to be shit, I don't want to watch it. And I can see something else and be like, yep, I want to check it out. My opinion of them may be different when or if I do watch them. I mean, everybody reserves the right to their own opinion, and opinions can change. But I'm excited for all four of these movies. It bums me out a little bit because I doubt that I'll get a chance to go see much of them in theater. I have to try to make it a goal to see Star Wars, but that's a year away, so a lot of time is going to come and go between now and then. The other movies I think are more likely to be summer pictures. But I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. That's just my thoughts on all of them. I'm excited about all four and hope to see all four of them. Star Wars will be the only one that I will just have to make a commitment to seeing it in the theater. So anyway, that's it. I just wanted to talk about that. I wanted to give my 2 cents in it, and maybe if I see some more trailers for movies or whatever I've seen, I'll make another vlog about it. So that's that. What do you guys think? Anybody who watches these videos interested in any of those movies, let me know. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.